The objective of this lesson is for students to be able to add and subtract fractions using regrouping and equivalent fractions. So we're going to be using models today to add and subtract fractions. So the first question is, Sandy drank half a cup of milk at breakfast and 6/8 of a cup at dinner. In total, how many cups of milk did Sandy drink today? So I started out by writing the problem, half plus 6/8, and we're going to kind of do an estimate of what we think that would be. So whenever we get the answer, if it's around the same estimate, then we know it's correct. So half is, half of a whole. And then the 6/8 equals, it's a little bit over half, but not quite a whole number. So both of these together, I would estimate that it's going to be a little over 1 whole. So let's do greater than 1 whole. Okay, so I've already drawn the 2 circles. The first circle, we're going to represent 1/2. So I'm going to put a line through the center of it, and I'm going to shade half of it, half of the part of the whole. So that equals the half. So then the second circle, we need to represent 6/8. So we need to divide the fraction into 8 equal parts and shade 6 of the parts. 8. And we're going to shade 6 of the parts. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that's 6/8. So then we need to add the fraction circles together. So we are able to do this by regrouping, by taking half of the second circle. So if you take this circle right here, half of it, and you put it over here in the first circle, that's going to equal a whole, right? So if we do what that's totaled, so you can draw 2 circles, and this is going to be a whole, and this one is we're going to go ahead and make the 8 equal. And we have 2 remaining. So we're going to go ahead and fill in the 2. So half plus 6/8 equals 1 and 2/8. Or 1 whole and 2/8. But this fraction right here isn't in simplest form. So in order to get it in simplest form, you need to divide the numerator and denominator by the greatest common factor, which is 2. So we're going to divide both of them by 2. And that is going to equal 1 and 1/4, which is our total answer. Okay, we're going to go on to the next problem.
It's big.
And the next problem is, Sam walked half of a mile to a friend's house to watch movies. After the movie, she walked 3/5 of the mile to the store. How far did Sam walk in all? So my estimation, so 1/4, and my other number right here is 3/5. And 1/4 equals 25%, I know. And 3/5 is a little over half. So we'll say greater than 50%. So I would estimate this problem is probably going to be maybe 80 to 90%, or a little under a whole. Little below a whole number. Okay, so the way we do this problem, so each of these models represents a fraction. So we're going to draw horizontal lines to represent 1/4 in this first rectangle. So 4 lines, and we're going to shade in the top area because that's going to represent 1/4. This is one part of the whole. So then the second fraction, we're going to do vertical lines. And we're going to make, since it's 3/5, we're going to do 5 sections. 1, 2, 3. Oh, wow, that's huge. 4, 5. And we are going to shade in 3 of the areas. 1, 2, 3. So then we need to find the common denominator between these two rectangles. So to do this, we need to start by drawing what we started with. So we're going to redraw this first one. And go ahead and put the lines. And we're going to shade in the top area, exactly how we did before. But instead of leaving it like that, we're going to go ahead and put in the vertical lines also. Because we're trying to make a new denominator, trying to figure out what the greatest common factor of these two numbers are. Because you can't add or subtract without finding a common denominator. So we need to add in 5 parts. 3, 4, 5. So this number right here represents 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5, and then there's 20 all together as a whole. So then we're going to do this again. Draw this grid. And we're going to start with the vertical lines. We're going to do 5 sections. And we're going to shade in the 3. 3. And then we're going to add in the horizontal lines. 3, 4. So this represents 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So this is 12 20ths. Okay, so these are both of the fractions. These are equivalent fractions to this. It just has a bigger denominator. So 3/5 is equivalent to 12 20ths, and 1/4 is equivalent to 5 20ths. So then, in order to get our answer, we're going to draw one more diagram. And we're going to make thirds and fifths, just like we did right here. 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And we're literally going to take these right here and move them down here. We're going to count them and move because we're going to be regrouping into one model, okay? So we're going to take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then this one has 3, 6, 9, 12. 1, 2, 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So this model equals 17 20ths because there's 17 shaded areas and there's 20 as a whole. And that's whenever we regrouped both of these smaller fractions and made it into one whole fraction. So this fraction, 17 20ths, cannot be reduced any further. So Sam walked 17 20ths of a mile. So that right there, 17 20ths is the answer. And that is almost what this is, a little under a whole.